is a springtime rain, to have a friend right in your corner. Your heart will feel a little warmer. Tender loving care, tender loving care. Each warm and friendly touch lets someone know you care so much. Tender loving care, tender loving care.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Greenbrier Almond, and thank you for joining us on our program, Tender Loving Care. Each week on Channel 3, I'm happy to talk about this interface between Christianity and medicine. And today I'm going to be talking about our body as the temple of the Holy Spirit, and of course how we take care of our body, and also what we eat and the medicines that we take, and the interactions that can be healthy or can be harmful. As often I do, I take a scientific article, this case from the American Family Physician. An issue just came out July the 15th, 1917, so hot off the press. And it's a repeat of an article that was first published in the American Family Physician back in 2008, but it's become even more important in 2017. That is the idea that about 60% of us, 40 to 60% of us are taking herbal medicines of some kind, vitamins, supplements, things to our diet that may impact the medication that our doctor is prescribing. And about a third of the time, patients are a little bit reluctant to tell their doctor what else they may be taking. Or maybe the doctor is not precise in asking what else the patient may be taking. And so some of this information is hidden, and it shouldn't be. In other words, I'm speaking to, I suspect some physicians who may be watching, but also to patients, people who go to a doctor for health care. You need to be telling your doctor everything that you take, everything that you do to your body. Sometimes it's illegal, right? I mean, marijuana is an issue. It's a plant. People may be taking that and they don't want to disclose that because it's illegal. Other things they may be taking, they were not prescribed. Opioids. We have an opioid epidemic, pain medicine epidemic here in West Virginia, with a number of deaths. And again, these are dangerous reactions, things people may be taking and not telling their doctor, or their doctor shopping, going to different doctors. But today I'm going to focus primarily on 15 different plants that we commonly take here in the hills. And I certainly have had my share of patients who take these supplements. And I just want to highlight for you some of the reasons to at least disclose to your doctor why you might be taking them. This is an article by Gary N. Eicher. Dr. Eicher is from the University of North Carolina. You may be, I don't think he's associated with People's Pharmacy, but you may be watching or listening to the People's Pharmacy on Saturday morning on the public radio. And there's a couple who, man and wife, but they're also pharmacists, who talk about food, drug interactions all the time. And it's an interesting program. Well, anyway, Dr. Eicher is from North Carolina also. And then there's Amanda Corbett, a PharmD, Doctor of Pharmacology, and Roy Hockey, also a Doctor of Pharmacology. And again, all of them from Chapel Hill, North Carolina. So the information is hot off the press and up to date. The type of interaction that I'm talking about and the doctors are talking about is both the pharmacological effect and the pharmacokinetic effect. So as people take medicines, and we probably should not be taking any more than 5 medicines. If you're taking 8 medicines, 12 medicines, you name a high number, you've got interactions already, and these can be harmful. So you and your doctor want to be reducing the amount of medicines. But say you were taking 4 medicines prescribed by your doctor, and then you're taking 4 or 5 supplements. You're now getting into a gray area, a shaky area, where you could be getting interactions that will hurt you. The pharmacokinetic, it would be that the reaction time for the medicine digesting and its effectiveness is either slower or faster than the doctor would expect. This would impact, say, for example, if you had a blood thinning disorder or you were taking medicine to thin your blood, then the blood might become too thin and then you would bleed out, as in people who take Coumadin, and then they have to be careful to not take certain plants like St. John's wort for depression that could change the pharmacokinetics. That's just an example. We'll get into this more. Where it could be pharmacodynamic interactions, meaning that the nature of the medicine and the effect on the body are changed as it breaks down. It's broken down into new products. Some of them have never been studied. Well, I want to go to the 15 medicines. We'll try to spend a minute or two on each one. And we don't have time to cover this entirely. I'm sure that you can Google this. You can go to, as you go to your doctor or to the pharmacist, they will have handouts they can take out of textbooks, and you can study this in depth. And it's to your benefit to know what you're putting in your body. You don't want to be harming yourself when you think you may be helping. In the mountains here, we have people take black cohosh. And this is helpful in multiple reasons. People might be taking black cohosh often to improve their immune system, and it might affect their blood pressure medicine. It might affect their allergy medicines. It might affect sugar control, and the statin medicines used to lower the cholesterol. And so all the black cohosh is not innocent when taken with a combination of medicines. Again, even if you thought, well, I'm just taking a little black cohosh, I don't need to tell my doctor about it, it's still important to know. The next one is cranberry. And I know people like cranberry. Cranberry juice, women take sometimes for urinary tract infection. I mean, men and women with their prostate as they get older, or they have an infection they're trying to treat. And so it's something that we do take for a variety of reasons. And it does affect the cytochrome 450 breakdown of drugs. So it speeds up what is the drug breakdown. So, but usually these are not significant, low interaction rate. But cranberry is a food. I mean, I used to think when I was a child I only ate cranberry at Thanksgiving time, and it would be a sauce or something like this. But some people take it as a regular juice when they're fighting an infection. Curcumin, Curcumin, another food or herbal supplement that people take. It has affected the antibiotic reaction that people have, and it's an enzymatic impact. In other words, it affects the breaking down of food or the medicines in a different way. Again, most of the time, this is not a dangerous effect. Echinacea, I think I've seen this on labels in cough drops for cough and allergy, and so people take that as thinking they're, of course, helping themselves. But it can, in psychiatric terms, affect the antipsychotic medicine someone may be taking. Someone may be having hallucinations or delusions, maybe they're treating a bipolar illness, maybe a severe depression, and it may affect also the antidepressant medications that people take. So I suspect, again, one of the things that, as a doctorate over the years, 46 years, I would treat people for psychosis, and we would take medicines. There would be a drying out of the saliva, and people who are afraid even or anxious. There's a line in Ernest Hemingway's book, For Whom the Bell Tolls, where he's about to blow up a bridge, and he tries to spit. He says, "If I can't spit, I'm scared." Well, anyway, dryness of the mucous membranes and so forth can be impacted by fear, by anxiety, or medicines we take like for antipsychosis or antidepressant. And if you started to then put lozenges in your mouth to help your generate saliva, then you could be creating an untoward effect and keeping those medicines from working. Garlic, I had the privilege of, and for the most part it was a privilege, of a great uncle that lived with us when I was growing up here, Uncle Paul. And he was a dear man. His wife had already died. He would generally eat by himself. Sometimes he would come and eat with the family, but he didn't want to impose on my parents, and they were grateful to have him though, and he lived in an apartment that we had above our garage. But he loved garlic, and he would take garlic all the time, and I remember garlic breath, and it seemed strong to me as a little boy. So I know people take garlic for a variety of reasons. What it does with medicines is it changes the kinetics, how fast other medicines may digest. And this includes your heart medicines like digoxin, includes quinidine, a heart medicine that controls how the heart repolarizes. Includes medicines for statins to lower cholesterol, blood pressure medicines, medicines for gout. So a variety of things like this can be impacted by garlic supplements. Again, caution today, I love this type of thing. I mean, we were taught in medical school to explore history. History is everything. I mean, my strong advocacy here is that if you're listening to this, you take a supplement, you're with 60% of the people out there. Don't be ashamed to tell your doctor what supplements you're taking. The doctor can often adjust the dosage of the medicine he chooses to prescribe for a particular chronic disease or ailment that you may have. He may be able to use the combination, but he or she has to know that you're taking these supplements like garlic. Ginkgo's out there, ginkgo biloba. People often take it for dementia or to improve mental sharpness. And it may inhibit platelet aggregation, which could increase bleeding. And so there's a risk to taking that. And then, of course, if you were taking something to promote bleeding, for example, you've had a stroke, or you maybe have had heart surgery, and you don't want your say new valves in your heart to clot, you may be on an anticoagulant, and you'd have to let the doctor know that you're on ginkgo. It can be a dangerous combination. Of course, bleeding is one of the emergencies. If you don't breathe, if you're poisoned, if you bleed, these are the three emergencies that can kill us quickly, and we want to be careful about ginkgo. Again, the studies are not clear how helpful they are in dementia, but it's a horrible disease, and as we live to be older, there's more and more of us who may be losing our memory, losing our edge, and we may be trying to supplement it with something like ginkgo. So we have to be careful if we have other chronic diseases to let the doctor know if you're taking ginkgo, as he's prescribing for what ails you from his perspective. Ginseng. In the mountains we have ginseng root is often something we can sell to Asia. And I've seen this in stores. You can go in and get ginseng in chewing gum. It's either made in Asia or it's being put in chewing gum, and people buy it, and they can take a supplement of it here. There's the American ginseng, and there's ginseng, of course, from Asia, grown over there, but they're actually different varieties and have different impact on medicines. This is going to be harmful in cases where a person is being treated with one of the AIDS drugs. And there are people in our community now who are being treated for AIDS. There are people who have hepatitis C, liver disease, be treated with hepatitis C drug. It could be treated for a virus. This is in the wintertime. We now treat medicines. A lot of the minor infections we have are viruses, and people don't take antibiotics for a virus. They take an antiviral drug, and it can affect those. And warfarin for Coumadin to thin the blood, people can impact with ginseng medicines like that. So it's important. You can of course again adjust the dose. The doctor can adjust the dose of the medicines if he knows that you're on ginseng. And ginseng can help. The reason 75% of all the drugs that we have, those that are prescribed by doctors, are found in plants. And here I am talking about 15 plants that are thought to be therapeutic. They just have not proven themselves enough that, say, a pharmacological corporation, Bayer companies of the world, the Johnson & Johnson companies of the world with Tylenol, have not come out with products made with these medicines, but they're out there as supplements. And the other thing I should caution at this point, as I go through these 15, is whatever supplement you may be taking, stick with a company that you know. In other words, start with one company and stay with that company if you intend to use a supplement. The reason being that some companies are, let's just say, more ethical than others. And so they may say, oh yes, you're taking ginseng, or yes, you're taking our product, whatever, ginkgo, but it's not. They may give you such a small amount of it that it doesn't do you any good at all. It really is not. It's not a product. Since it's a food additive or a supplement, it's not governed by the FDA. They don't know. They don't test these products to say if they are efficacious, if there's enough of the medicinal medicine there to do any good. And you're going to be titrating it according to its result. What is the desired result for you? And so if you're starting with a low dose and then you double that and you double that, you're supplementing yourself. Your responsibility is yours. But don't change companies, because another company may have a different amount of the food ingredient or the supplement available in their product. And also these are sometimes leaves, and sometimes they're potions and liquid potions. Sometimes they're in pill form, capsules, and so forth. So these you have to stick with the same company if you start on a supplement. Now we have a whole magazine here in West Virginia called the Golden Seal, the Golden Seal magazine. And I happen to like this. I get it about every month, or maybe 4 times a year. It's published right here in West Virginia from the Cultural Center down in Charleston, West Virginia. And so if there's a magazine called Golden Seal, you would know that it represents a plant or something in the Mountain State. And indeed, Golden Seal is an herbal supplement. And it has 2 metabolic enzymes that impact the kinetics, how fast medicines are digested and become available in our body. And it's thought to be fatal in some cases combination. So you want to let your doctor know for sure if you're taking Golden Seal. The clinical trials are ongoing, but it can be a dangerous combination. The green tea. My wife sometimes will go to a restaurant and she doesn't take caffeine, and she'll ask, "Do you have herbal tea?" And the waitress may say, "Yes, we have green tea, and it sounds healthy, and for the most part it is. Camellia sinensis, go with the Latin word, but green tea does have significant interactions with in human bodies and in vitro studies. Another idea here is that anything that's studied is in vitro, that means in the laboratory, and in vivo, that means in the body. So when we study pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics as a doctor, and we're taking a massive class in our second year of medical school of pharmacology, and then from then on, as a doctor over the past 46 years, I read all these articles about the medicines, and so we're interested in the impact the medicine is having on the body, but green tea add that to what we're taking, and it changes the in vitro result of medicines. It may or may not be impacting the body that much once it's in vivo, but we can't be sure, because some people take a lot of green tea, some people take a little bit of green tea, and again, the concentrations could be different. Particularly one of the drugs that is prescribed. I went to a medical lecture recently, and the doctor of internal medicine, adult medicine doctor, said there's 3 medicines everyone in America should be taking from his perspective. And one was a statin to lower the cholesterol. We have a crisis of people having very high cholesterol, very high fatty acids, and so there are medicines, statins, that lower that. And there are many people taking that. The other thing that he was concerned about would be some type of antihypertensive medicine, because we have a lot of people with hidden hypertension, and they have heart disease, and so many people, half the people who have their heart attack at 48 don't make it to the ER even. They don't make it to the hospital. They die in the field someplace at work, or maybe early in the morning in their own bed, but they had high blood pressure, they didn't even know it. So this doctor was advocating for a statin to lower the cholesterol, some type of blood pressure control medicine, and then he was also looking at an aspirin, or something that would thin the blood enough to prevent stroke and heart attack. So whether he's right or not, it certainly is true that people are taking a lot of statins, and so green tea can interfere with that, the kinetics, how fast it's available in the body. There are actually ongoing studies for this, because with emphasis on women's medicine and health, there's a lot of interest in green tea. Kava kava, I'm a coffee drinker, and kava kava is advocated as another stimulant that's available to us, not like caffeine, but in similar way, and it's been has no effect that we know about on kinetics, breaking down the speed of medicines available to us. I suspect any of these could be overdosed, or people could take more and more of it as a stimulant, and it could harm them. It's also could be involved in defeating the purposes of a non-steroidal a pain medicine, or an anti-inflammatory medicine, or a blood pressure pill, angiotensin receptor, or glipizide, a sugar pill for diabetes, or glyburide, or even anticonvulsant medicines. So, so the list goes on, and where kava kava can be harmful. this is not the main stimulant that we fear now. Of course, methamphetamine is also an epidemic in our society in the mountains, and so taking too much of any stimulant is going to be harmful. But in particular, kava kava, you'd want your doctor to know if you are taking kava kava and you were taking a medicine for a chronic disease. 60% of us are doing something like that. So you're not in the minority, but you have to let your doctor know. As I looked at these 15 medicines, not all are things that I see commonly, though I guess I could if I ask, or maybe my patients don't even tell me. Milk thistle. I certainly think I see milk thistle growing here, and I'm always interested in the thistle. And my dad spent all of our childhood that I can recall so that we could go barefoot. That's something West Virginians love to do. And he would be digging up thistles all over the property all the time. And of course, he wouldn't want them to get to the stage where they could be blown by the wind and seeded and grow more thistles. But anyway, milk thistle does not inhibit the speed of any drug interaction, and it may reduce some blood pressure medicines benefit, and it may change how blood is thinned, and it may have, in fact, diazepam, which is Valium, or other of the benzodiazepine drugs that people take for anxiety. So people might be taking milk thistle as a supplement, and then they don't realize that their anti-anxiety medicine is not working as well. But if they think about it, that 2 and 2 may equal 4, and they have to cut back milk thistle if they want to get their anxiety under control. Saw palmetto, commonly thought of to increase male potency, has been involved in a lot of studies. There have been no adverse effects to this. It may or may not improve male performance, but that's another issue. But see, all these supplements are out there, and it's folklore as to whether they work or don't work. Interesting enough, in our community, and you may want to do this, walking around at the college, we have a lot of plants labeled now on a nature trail, and I've noticed as I read these that the biologists and the people making the nature trail have been careful to note when some of these have some type of a herbal benefit, or the legend is, and they qualify it, and they say maybe the Indian tribe taking this thought that it helped grow hair or something like that, whatever the indication is. And they note that as a historic fact, but they don't advocate for it. They're saying, like I am here, use these at your own risk. But if you are taking these supplements, let your doctor know. So saw palmetto may not improve male potency, but it's taken for that reason. St. John's wort, something that's out there as an antidepressant, has a lot of side effects. If you're on an oral contraceptive medicine, you may get pregnant. If you're taking St. John's wort and your oral contraceptive, it may change how that would work together. Theophylline for breathing, asthma problems, digoxin for the heart, strength of the heart and heart failure, venlafaxine, an antidepressant, and as well as interfering with other antidepressants. So it's not an innocent supplement. Valerian, I'll close with this one, has unlikely harmful effects, but these are all certainly out there and been used by patients in the mountains. And my experience, and I think within health insurance improving, people go to the doctor more readily the first time they get a symptom than they used to, but in the old days, people would always try the home remedies first. And so it was not uncommon that people would start taking one of these plant supplements and take them for a season And if they got better, they got better. And many times these do help. Or they didn't get better, then they would go to the doctor later. And even early on, my father practicing medicine at the time of World War II, so back in the 1940s and early 1950s, he said himself there were very few medicines that worked. In fact, he counted 5. Digoxin, the insulin, morphine, phenobarbital, and I'm not sure what his 5th one was, probably something for high blood pressure. So anyway, there were 5 medicines that worked, and the rest of them didn't work. So we have the opposite now. We have, last time I went to look at a manual of medicines, there's 35,000 medicines. And those that have been tested by the FDA do improve a person's symptoms. So they do what the pharmacotherapy manual will say they do. But we have to be careful with these supplements. Well, until the next time then, this is Dr. Greenbrier-Allman thanking you for joining us on our program, Tender Loving Care. I love to talk about topics like this, and some of you, as you see me out walking around, and you say you watch the program, I suggest, well, what do you want to know about? And so thanks to a fellow traveler here in Buchanan who walks, they said, tell us about the plants, the herbal medicines. So here we get a dose of that today. Until the next time, thank you, Channel 3, for the opportunity to come your way each week, and we look forward to more programs of Tender Loving Care.
Stories of a West Virginia Doctor, written by Dr. Harold D. Allman. A collection of 55 short stories about his experience as a small-town doctor in central West Virginia. And Tender Loving Care. Stories from a West Virginia Doctor, Volume 2, written by Dr. Greenbrier-Allman, using videotapes to write 70 additional stories of his father's very colorful life as a small-town doctor. They can be found for purchase at Amazon.com and most local bookstores. Tune into Channel 3 Buchanan for Tender Loving Care with Dr. Greenbrier-Allman, where he talks about the connection between Christianity and medicine.